Hey guys, I'm actually recording 2 videos in one day. I record my what I eat in a day videos on Saturday because my weekend is so busy. So for me to get it up on time for Tuesday, I have to record it on Saturday. And normally I record on Friday for Saturday, but my Friday was crazy busy, so I never got to it. So today I'm recording 2 videos in one. My shirt's going to be the same for 2 videos in a row. But today I'm going to talk to you guys about protein. I know, our favorite topic. So we'll get to that in just a minute.
With every star, we are born again. Open your heart, spend this time in your head.
Alrighty, so I'm outside today because it's gonna be really warm and my AC is on. Normally I turn it up a little bit so that it turns off so I can record. It's gonna be too warm today for that. So I figured I'd come outside. Dogs are playing, chickens and ducks are walking around. So you're gonna get nature sounds today while we talk about protein. Now there's a lot of people who are very concerned and very confused about what to do for their protein every single day, because most of us are coming from a carnivore way of eating, and protein has been recommended to be eaten in larger amounts. There's a lot of people who are switching over to Dr. Boz's ratios, and Dr. Boz recommends like 15% of our calories come from protein, because any more than that, in the back of her little quality eating guide says, can be turned into glucose. Now, what I want you guys to keep in mind is that we're not all the same. Everybody is very, very different. There are some people who can eat large amounts of protein and still get into ketosis, like 150, 200 grams of protein a day, and still be able to get into ketosis. Why is that? That's because they are metabolically flexible, not insulin resistant, and they are healthy. And that's why they're able to eat the higher amounts of protein without the negative side effects. Sorry, doggies. Dr. Boz actually has a video on why your blood sugars are high in the morning. And in that video, she shows a healthy teenager's blood sugar and ketones. And what a healthy teenager is able to do is switch back and forth between ketone burning, glucose burning, ketone burning, glucose burning. So they do end up going into ketosis. Even when they're eating standard American diet junk food, or if they're eating large amounts of protein, they are able to switch back and forth between the 2 fuels. When you do that, you do enter ketosis and you are able to burn your body fat. I truly believe, this is my theory, I could be totally wrong, but I think all weight loss happens in a state of ketosis. I truly believe that. Now, some of us are trying to manipulate our chemistry to be in ketosis for a much longer, larger period of time. But I believe that anyone who loses weight does get into that state of ketosis. And one of the reasons that I say that is you weigh yourself just before you go to bed at night. You will weigh more than what you weigh in the morning. Why is that? You would think that we would weigh the least amount in the evening, because we would have been exercising and working and doing all of this stuff during the day. Yes, eating, but we've also been doing a lot of movement. So we should weigh less at night, but we don't. We weigh more. When you wake up in the morning, your weight will have gone down. The biggest amount of weight loss generally happens for people overnight. Guess what happens to people, even on the standard American diet, overnight? They're fasting. And by fasting, they have the ability to get into a state of ketosis. How healthy your body is determines how well you get in and out of that state of ketosis. So that is my theory. Everybody loses weight in ketosis. Another reason I can say that is because in the presence of high insulin, our cells are in storing phase. They are not in releasing phase. Insulin is the growth hormone. it causes you to put energy away. It causes you to put nutrients into cells. It does not allow anything to come out of the cells, including your fat cells. So in order to lose weight, you have to be in a low insulin state. It is physiology. It is chemistry. You don't have a choice. If you want to lose weight, your insulin cannot be high and elevated if you want to empty out your fat stores. So that is another reason that I truly believe that all people who lose weight are in a state of ketosis. Well, where does this lead to protein, right? There are some people who are able to eat large amounts of protein and get into ketosis because their body is healthy. They're metabolically stable. They can shift between the two fuels very well. So if they overconsume their protein, which then ends up turning into glucose, they're able to burn it. Absolutely no problem. And then they're able to flip over to burning ketones, whether it be from exercise or fasting, and they are able to do both. And if you were to watch a continuous glucose monitor and a continuous ketone monitor, which I don't think we have yet, then I truly believe you would be able to see that that is what they are able to do. So when you take a person who is not metabolically healthy, you take a person who is struggling and suffering with chronic problems, these people may need to be on a reduced protein diet. And of course, we're all worried about losing our hair, losing our muscle, not having enough protein to build our bodies the way that we need to. There's something I want to point out to you guys. I'm not sure if you know what this is, but RDA stands for Recommended Daily Allowance of any nutrient, whether it be food, a macronutrient, a vitamin, whatever it is. There have been established amounts that the federal government says that we should have. The way that they find these out is that they do tests. The RDAs originally came around in World War II because a lot of soldiers were having problems. And so the government started doing experiments to figure out how much of each nutrient these soldiers needed to have to avoid problems. Now that is where the RDA came from. Take iodine, for example. The RDA, the recommended daily allowance for iodine, is very low, but it's just high enough to keep you from getting goiter. So it's enough to keep you from getting sick. And for some things, there's a max, and you should not go over that max, or there will be some really negative consequences that can make you sick. Not for everything, but for some things. So there's generally a range. Usually they have a minimum, they have a maximum, and then the RDA tends to fall somewhere in the middle. This is where RDAs came from. What is the RDA for protein? Well, if you look it up, according to our federal guidelines of our food pyramid and what we should be eating, they recommend 0.8 grams per kilogram of body mass. What does that mean? That means that Dr. Boz's recommendation of 1 gram to 1 kilogram is actually higher than what we are being told is a good amount for us to eat. What does the RDA do? It tells you what you need to not have nutritional deficiencies. So anything above that, if you go too high, you could end up with problems. But anything above that is generally acceptable and good. So for everyone who is very worried about not getting enough protein, remember that for years, decades even, we have been told to consume less than what Dr. Boz is recommending. And people have been able to build muscle. They have had amazing hair. Keep that in mind. Remember also, it depends on the health of your body. I do know people who can eat 200 grams of protein a day and get into ketosis and make amazing ketones. Their bodies are healthy, they have adapted, and they enable them to do that. If we are unhealthy, if we are battling some chronic illnesses and conditions inside of ourselves, we generally can't eat that high of an amount of protein. So look at that from that perspective. We need to keep in mind, yes, what the government recommends to us is not always a great thing. Oh, and I can also speak to why we're told to eat so many grains. That's because they fortified them and gave us a lot of nutrients in them, and you have to eat copious amounts of them to get those fake nutrients. So if you shift over and you're eating fat and the proper amount of protein for your body, then you will be able to get the nutrients that you need without the grains. But I just wanted to give you guys some food for thought on the protein. I have reached out to Dr. Boz, and we're going to get something scheduled where we can follow up and talk more about the scientific approach and aspect of protein. But I kind of had that revelation earlier today and a little bit yesterday as well, but it was 10 o'clock at night. It was too late to record a video, so I saved it for today. But I wanted to let you guys know that everybody is different. There is no one size fits all. There is no true answer for everybody to be able to know exactly how much protein they should eat. Dr. Boz's recommendation is a starting place. Some are going to need even less than that until their body heals some. Then they'll be able to increase the protein a little bit more. Some people can go way over Dr. Boz's recommendation and be perfectly fine. As she says in her books, we don't fast to the clock. We fast to our numbers. Protein is exactly the same way. We do not restrict to a certain number, to our body mass. We restrict to the numbers. A lot of people say that they don't like chasing numbers. They hate chasing the numbers. But I would like to point out, we all chase numbers every single day. We chase our cholesterol numbers. We chase our BMI. We chase our weight. We chase our pant size. We chase all other blood and vitamin markers that we have whenever we go and get our tests. And tracking macros is another one. We're all trying to shoot for a certain amount of protein and a certain amount of fat and keeping our carbs low. We all chase numbers. It's for what purpose are you chasing those numbers? Are you getting obsessed over those numbers? So one thing that I've noticed for a lot of people who've switched over to Dr. Boz's way of eating, who used to be very triggered by tracking and looking at numbers, they're no longer triggered by that. They are able to look at their numbers, track what they're eating, check their ketones and their blood glucose, and it doesn't stress them out. This is the first time in their adult lives that they have been able to do these tests, look at actual numbers and see it as nothing more than data and not taking it personally. So that's just something that I've noticed. And I think it's been really cool that a lot of people who aren't able to track are all of a sudden capable of handling it, and not only capable of doing it, but they're thriving and they are rocking it. So for anybody who says that they don't want to chase numbers, chances are you're probably already chasing numbers. And if you don't want to add more numbers to chase, then that is absolutely your prerogative and you get to choose that. Whatever you choose, whatever you want to do, I want you to support others on their own journey, because we are so different and we are all at a different place in our lives and in our stages of what we're going through. Some people are almost completely healthy and some people are just finding out that they're sick. I want to ask that you support other people in their decisions. Don't condemn them, don't talk down to them, but speak from your own personal experience. That is the safest way to support someone without telling them you should be doing this. If you say, this is what worked for me, I found amazing results with this, you will be able to find someone who says that about almost anything. But I digress. I hope that you guys found value in this. I hope that it helps to explain a few things and maybe put your mind at ease at the reduced amount of protein that we are being told to consume. When you put it into perspective, we're still eating more than the standard American diet recommendations. And so far, people have had incredible results from doing that. So I'm gonna let you guys go because I think my doggies they need to go inside. I love you guys. Thank you so much. I hope that you enjoyed this video and I will see you on the way. Bye guys. I'm gonna have to put the dogs inside because they won't stop. Maybe they'll get hot enough that they just won't do it anymore. It's not working. My chickens are jumping into the tree to get apples. The reason you stay here. No chasing the birds. Where are we going? Where are we going? Libel and Shrukin. Mom, we're just telling them to go where they belong. They don't belong. Hey, leave the birds alone. They're fine in the tree. Birds, dogs, bird brains. That's what they are. They're bird brains. But one thing that I have found. Hello, Goose. Goose. Cool, I got it all. Okay, doggies, let's go inside. Good girl. Good boy.